Let's jump into the world of skatepark scooters. We're going to figure out how to pick the best one for you. It's not as simple as like just picking a color or something like that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. A lot of people think a scooter is a scooter, but it's kind of like skateboards. There's a huge difference between park versus street scooters, and it really matters for performance and also for safety.
Okay, so I got to admit, I was a little bit surprised to learn that. So break it down for me. What is the park versus street?
Sure, so it's all about like purpose-built design. Like park scooters are built for airtime. They're lighter. Often they have thinner decks and lower handlebars, which makes them good for spinning, flipping, all that good stuff. And then they usually have bigger wheels too. And that's not just for speed. It's also so when you come down from a big air trick, you know you have a smoother landing.
That makes sense. So what about street scooters? They sound a little bit more...
Yeah, definitely built for a different kind of fun. They're designed to handle grinds, drops, and those gnarly urban obstacles that you see. So you'll see wider decks on those for stability, taller handlebars for more control. And you'll notice if you look closely, the grip tape is really coarse. So when you're landing grinds, your feet don't slip off.
Wow, okay. I'm starting to see why getting the right one is important. So let's say we're focusing on picking a good skate park scooter. What are the things we need to think about?
Yeah, so you're going to be spending a lot of time on ramps, half pipes, maybe even some jump boxes.
Yeah.
So you want something that can really hold up and perform well.
So what are like the building blocks? Where do we even start?
So let's start literally with the foundation, the deck. It's where you stand, and it takes a beating. So you want something strong, but also lightweight. So aircraft-grade aluminum is like the gold standard. You know, it can handle the impact, and it won't weigh you down when you're trying to catch air.
It's kind of like the chassis of a race car.
Exactly. Built for performance. And you want to make sure when you're looking at decks, you get a single-piece deck. So that means it's one solid piece of metal, there's no welds, or weak points that could break on you.
Okay, so single-piece aluminum deck for maximum durability. What's next?
All right, so let's move on to the handlebars. They're your control center. So comfort and control are really key here. And the material matters too. So steel is heavier, but super strong. Aluminum is lighter, but it might not be as durable.
So is there like an ideal height? I'm imagining you don't want to be hunched over or reaching too high.
Yeah, you're right. It really depends on your height and what's comfortable for you. But generally, park scooter handlebars are lower than street scooters, and that gives you more leverage for those big air tricks.
Okay, lower handlebars for more airtime. Got it. What about the diameter of the handlebars? Does that matter too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The diameter affects which fork and clamp you can use, and those are crucial parts of the scooter structure.
All right, so we've got our deck, handlebars sorted out. What's next?
All right, let's talk about the fork. So the fork connects your deck, your handlebars, and your front wheel. And it needs to be really strong to handle those high-impact landings. So threadless forks are the way to go for park riding. They're much more durable and offer better performance.
Threadless forks, check. So how does the compression system play into all this? I know you mentioned it's important, but I'm a little fuzzy on what it actually does.
Yeah, so the compression system is what holds everything together. So the handlebars, the fork, and the deck. You want something that's super secure and stable, especially for park riding where you're putting a lot of stress on the scooter.
Okay, starting to get the picture here.
Yeah.
But how do I know if a compression system is good?
So there are three main types you'll see. For high-performance park scooters, HIC, SCS, and ICS. And these systems use special mechanisms to clamp everything together really tightly.
Okay, what about those threaded compression systems I've seen on some scooters? Are those good enough?
I'd avoid them, honestly. For serious park riding, they use a threaded bolt to hold things together, and they're just not as stable or durable as the HIC, SCS, or ICS systems.
All right, no threaded compression for me. What else do we need to think about?
We can't forget about the headset. This is what allows your handlebars to turn smoothly, which is obviously important when you're navigating the park and pulling off tricks.
Right, I can imagine a wonky headset would make things pretty difficult. So what should we look for in a headset?
Smooth rotation is key. And for park scooters, integrated headsets are the way to go. They're more durable, and they offer better performance overall.
Integrated headset, got it. Anything else we need to cover before we move on?
Just one more thing, the clamp. So this is what holds your handlebars onto the fork. And you want something strong and secure that won't slip when you're putting your scooter through its paces.
So what should we look for in a clamp?
You'll see clamps with double, triple, or even quadruple bolts. And more bolts generally mean more strength and security.
Okay, so more bolts equals more peace of mind. when I'm flying through the air.
Exactly. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of our deep dive.
Wow, time flies when you're learning about scooter anatomy. We covered a lot of ground, but there's still more to explore in the world of skate park scooters. We'll be right back after a quick break to dive into the exciting world of wheels, brakes, and maybe even touch on some specific brands that are killing it in the skate park scooter game.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so we're back and ready to roll into the next part of our skate park scooter deep dive. Last time we talked all about decks, handlebars, forks, and all those essential components.
Yep. Now it's time to get into the parts that really let you fly. Wheels and brakes. Because what's the point of a killer scooter if you can't control it or get some serious speed?
Okay, let's talk wheels. What makes a good wheel for park riding?
So for park riding, you want wheels that can handle those big impacts when you're landing tricks, good grip, and let you roll smoothly through the park. So they usually have a metal core for durability, and that core is surrounded by a material called urethane.
Urethane. Isn't that what they use for skateboard reels too?
You got it. And the hardness of that urethane makes a big difference. Softer urethane will give you more grip, which is great for control and landing tricks. But it can slow you down a bit. Harder urethane holds faster, but it might feel a bit slippery on some surfaces.
So it's like a trade-off between speed and control.
Exactly. It comes down to personal preference and what kind of riding you'll be doing. And then you also want to think about the size of the wheels. Larger wheels give you more speed, and they'll roll over bumps more smoothly. But smaller wheels can be more responsive for doing tricks.
This is making me want to go test out different wheels
Ah!
and see what feels best.
That's the best way to learn. Now let's shift gears and talk brakes. You might think all brakes are created equal, but in the skate park, a good brake system is essential for safety and control.
Yeah, I can imagine. Trying to stop on a dime when you're coming down a ramp could get pretty hairy without a good brake.
Exactly. For park scooters, flex brakes are the gold standard. They're quieter, more effective, and generally just preferred by most riders. They work by using a flexible metal plate that presses against the wheel to slow you down.
So if I'm picturing this right in my head, it's kind of like squeezing a clamp onto the wheel.
That's a great analogy. It creates friction to slow you down. And they're super responsive, which is what you want in the fast-paced environment of a skate park.
Okay, flex brakes. Got it. So we've covered the major components, but I'm curious about those riders who want to take their scooter to the next level. Is there such a thing as a custom-built skate park scooter?
Absolutely. Once you kind of get into that world of serious park riding, a lot of people start to build their own scooters from the ground up, choosing each component to perfectly match their riding style and preferences.
Wow, that's next level. So where do they even start? Are there specific brands that cater to this?
Yeah, you'll find a lot of the popular scooter brands offer individual components so you can kind of mix and match and create your dream setup. So brands like Aztec, Proto, Tilt, they're well respected in the custom scooter world.
So it's kind of like building your own supercar. You're choosing the engine, suspension, body to perfectly match your driving style.
Exactly. It's all about that perfect balance and responsiveness. Now, we've talked a lot about the components of a great skate park scooter, but I know you're probably wondering about specific brands and models.
You read my mind. Are there any brands that stand out as being particularly good for park riding?
There are definitely a handful of brands that consistently get rave reviews from park riders and are known for their quality and performance.
Okay, spill the beans. Give us some names.
One brand that always comes up is Lucky. They make some seriously smooth riding scooters, and their crew and prospect models are especially popular for park.
Lucky. I'll have to check them out. Who else should I be putting on my radar?
Invert is another one to watch. Their Supreme model is designed for both park and street, so that's a versatile choice if you want to mix things up. And then there's Triad. They have some really cool park models, like the Psychic Delinquent Mini and the Totem, which are known for their high-quality components.
Psychic Delinquent Mini. That's the name that sticks with you. What other brands are out there? Pushing the boundaries?
The Grit is another one that stands out for their innovative designs and tough-as-nails construction. Their Elite and Invader models are built to handle some serious abuse in the park.
Okay, Grit's definitely on my list. Any more to add?
One more I want to mention is Root Industries. They're known for their super lightweight scooters and stylish designs. Their Type R is a popular choice for park riders who want a scooter that feels light and agile.
Okay, so we've got Lucky, Invert, Triad, Grit, and root industries. That's a great starting point. What advice would you give to our listener who's now feeling overwhelmed with all this information and is ready to pick their perfect skate park scooter?
The most important thing is to remember, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. The best skate park scooter for you is the one that fits your riding style, your budget, and the features that are most important to you. So don't be afraid to do some research, watch some videos, and maybe even try out a few different scooters at a local shop if you can.
That's great advice. It's kind of like finding the perfect pair of shoes. You wouldn't just buy the first pair you see. You want to try them on, walk around a bit, make sure they feel right.
Exactly. And remember, it's all about having fun. Don't get too bogged down in the details. The most important thing is to get out there, ride, and enjoy the thrill of the skate park.
I love that. So are we ready to bring this deep dive to a close?
I think we've covered all the essential ground. Hopefully, our listener now feels empowered to choose the perfect skate park scooter and unlock a whole new level of fun and skill development.
Well said. Thanks for sharing all your insights and expertise with us. I know our listener is now ready to hit the skate park with confidence and style.
My pleasure. Remember, it's all about having fun, pushing your limits, and expressing yourself through this amazing sport. Happy riding.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from decks to wheels and even custom builds.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how much there is to learn about skate park scooters.
You know, when I see those pro riders
Yeah.
pulling off those insane tricks, it's hard to believe they're doing it all on a scooter.
Yeah.
It's like the evolution of scooters has kept pace with how much the riding has progressed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the demands of those pro riders have pushed manufacturers to innovate and come up with these lighter, stronger, more responsive scooters. It's like this constant feedback loop. You know riders are pushing the limits, and the technology has to evolve to keep up.
Yeah, that's so true. Makes you wonder what's next, what's on the horizon for skate park scooters.
It's hard to say for sure, but I mean, the possibilities are really exciting. We might see new materials that are even lighter and stronger, or maybe advancements in wheel technology that allow for even more speed and control.
That would be awesome. So I have to ask, is picking the best skate park scooter just about finding the most high-tech or the most expensive model?
Not at all. Remember, the best scooter for you is the one that fits your riding style, your budget, and helps you achieve your goals in the park.
So even a beginner who's just starting out can find a great scooter that will help them progress.
Absolutely. There are so many options out there, from those entry-level scooters that are perfect for learning the basics, all the way up to those high-end models that can really handle anything you throw at them. So do your research, ask questions, and find a scooter that inspires you to get out there and ride.
That's great advice. I think that's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of skate park scooters.
It was my pleasure.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into a topic that's sure to spark your curiosity. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep having fun.